Well, hey guys, happy Super Bowl Sunday. That's what today is, February 9th, 2025. Thanks for tuning in to Inspirations for Your Life. Really grateful for many of you that have decided to download. We had several thousand downloads just in one little short period the other day. Really grateful for that. I guess people really do like our content, so I'm really pleased about that. Do check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And you remember our master topic for the week, which started just yesterday, Saturday, how to study smarter and not harder. And by the way, we're on series 4. And so today's granular topic is why frequent study breaks boost learning, series 4, show 7, episode number 2. If you have not gotten a chance to get something from the kitchen, maybe something warm, something cold, a drink, maybe something sweet, something salty, something healthy, or something not, go ahead and run and do that so we can kick off our show and you guys can have something great while you're enjoying this content. So, welcome everyone to another insightful episode of the Inspirations for Your Life podcast. I am your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, podcast coach, and host. And today I'm diving into a crucial yet often overlooked aspect of effective studying: the power of frequent breaks. Many believe that studying for long, uninterrupted hours is the best way to retain information. But science has told us otherwise. Taking strategic breaks not only enhances memory retention, but also boosts the focus and our creativity levels, and of course, increases productivity. In this episode, I'm going to uncover the benefits of pausing during studying sessions and how it can help prevent burnout, sustain motivation, and create long term study success. And these are things you should do even if you're not studying, even if you're just doing something that requires a lot of attention. It could be building something, doesn't have to be studying, but anything that requires a lot of careful thought or creativity, you may just want to adhere to these standards as well, because I think you'll find them very, very useful. All right. So let's just get right into this. All right. So if you've ever struggled with concentration before, mental fatigue, or information overload, this episode will give you the strategies you need to study smarter and not harder. Again, we're talking about that all week, but we're giving you specific key areas of where to do that in. So, number one, the reason why you should actually have these study breaks is enhancing memory retention. So, our brains need time to process and store information effectively. Continuous studying without breaks can overload the brain, making it harder to retain information. By spacing out and study sessions with short breaks will give your brain the chance to solidify what you've learned. And this technique, known as the spaced repetition, reinforces memory pathways and ensures that information sticks for the long term. Number two, everyone, improves focus and concentration. So, sitting for hours on end leads to mental fatigue and decreased attention span. Taking frequent, intentional breaks helps reset your focus and always allows your brain to refresh. Short pauses improves concentration levels, helping you stay engaged with the material and making your study sessions more effective. By maintaining high levels of focus, you absorb information a lot quicker and efficiently, and you stay productive much longer. Number three, preventing burnout. Burnout is a major issue for students of all ages and professionals alike. Studying for long hours without proper breaks can lead to exhaustion, stress, and yes, frustration. Implementing regular breaks helps maintain balance, allowing you to study consistently without feeling overwhelmed. By giving yourself permission to step away and recharge, you avoid burnout and sustain long term motivation. Number four, boosts energy and productivity. So, breaks aren't just about relaxation, they give us a chance to serve as an energy booster. Engaging in light physical activity, maybe a stretch, or even stepping outside for a breath of fresh air during a break can re energize your mind and, of course, your body. With renewed energy, you return to your studies with a fresh perspective, allowing you to work for a way that's more efficient and retain, of course, more information. Number five, encourages creativity and problem solving. Stepping away from studying allows your brain to form new connections and insights. Some of the best problem solving moments happen when you're not actively thinking about the problem. When you take a break, your subconscious mind continues working in the background, leading to creative solutions and deeper understanding when you return to studying. Number six, supports the Pomodoro technique. One of the most effective study strategies involves structured time management, like the Pomodoro technique, which incidentally I use every day. I don't use it while I'm on the show because the show is more than 25 minutes. But this method encourages studying in a focused interval, typically 25 minutes. It could be 20, but it's always the same amount during your sessions for that day, followed by short breaks. These structured pauses help sustain focus, preventing procrastination and making studying feel less overwhelming while maximizing efficiency. So it's really easy to do a Pomodoro. In fact, all you do in Windows is you can just go to start and you can just type focus and you'll get something that says focus sessions. Then you will see an option there that says start focus session. But below that, you're going to see session duration. So session duration is how long you want the focus sessions and the breaks to last. So if you put in 30 minutes, it's not going to give you just multiple 30-minute sessions. It's going to give you a 25-minute, and then it's going to give you one 5-minute, and then you're going to be over. If you set something longer, it will balance out the 25 minutes and the 5 minutes, so you'll get multiple sessions. So you can choose to have the timer in the clock app show. You can choose to hide the badges on the taskbar apps, which I recommend. Hide flashing on the taskbar apps. Turn on Do Not Disturb. I definitely recommend that. So notifications will not bother you. That is really very, very important. And then all you do is you click on the Start Focus Session blue button there at the top once you're all set. And then it will launch a timer. And the timer will start with your period, preferably 25 minutes. And then after the time, it will actually play an alarm. Now, if your alarm is not playing, you have to go down to alarm while you're in focus session, and you can set like what you want the timer to do, etc. So I think that's a really cool thing. You can even link it to Spotify if you want, but you don't have to. Literally just doing that. And plus, the daily progress system in focus session will show you what you did yesterday, what the goal is for today, and what was your daily streak, how many you completed. So that's important. How many hours, how many minutes. And so this is a great thing because what it does is it says, hey, brain, I want you to study right now. Study the best you can because you're going to get a break. I promise you. All right. I'm doing Pomodoro sessions and I want you to take a break. I don't want to overwork you. And I think that's probably the very most important thing. So I think that's a really important thing for you to understand is how to do that. And I can tell you that it's important to do this because people don't always get this, right? They don't always get this. And I'm here to tell you that it's something that you can actually enhance the quality of your life. Many people I talk to, oh my gosh, I've got to just study nonstop. But those people, if you go to ask them questions later, don't remember anything you've asked them except for maybe the last few minutes that they were studying. Like everything becomes this giant mess in their brain. So I recommend doing a Pomodoro. Now you can get the Pomodoro on different sites, but you don't even have to buy a Pomodoro. You can use the Windows Pomodoro on the Mac. There is not a free Pomodoro timer, but you can download stuff from the App Store. Now on your phone, you can obviously set up time. That's fine, but it's not going to work like the Pomodoro timer. So the question people ask you is, can you download a Pomodoro timer for your iPhone? And the question to that, yes. So they have something called Pomodoro Focus, which is a great timer. You can basically have it set for different types of music. And it's a really cool thing to have. A lot of people like it. And, I think this is something neat because when you can like vary your studying, when you can spice things up, when you can come back fresh, that is so priceless, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have not, given yourself breaks, try the Pomodoro technique. I think you're going to like the Pomodoro technique. People always ask me, so when did the Pomodoro technique start? Well, that would be a great question to ask. So the history and the evolution of the Pomodoro technique happened quite a long time ago. All right, and so when we think about this, the Pomodoro timer is basically a tomato, because that's a type of tomato, right? Pomodoro, and it looks like a tomato, and it has little white indentations for the marks for the time. And then you have every 5 increments, like you have 5, 10, 15. They're actually having a bigger line, and then you see the number above it. So it's pretty cool. Now, people always ask why it is only 25 minutes. So the Pomodoro technique was developed by Francisco Cirillo in the late 1980s. Cirillo was a university student at the time, struggling with time management and productivity. He used a kitchen timer shaped like a tomato, and the inspiration for the name Pomodoro there came from that, which means tomato in Italian, to break his study sessions into manageable intervals. Cirillo initially set the time for 25 minutes, during which he focused solely on one task without any distractions. After each Pomodoro, 1 25-minute interval, he took a short break of around 5 minutes. After every 4 Pomodoros, he took a longer break, 15 to 30, or you could do 45 minutes or an hour. He found that 25 minutes was enough time to stay focused, manage time effectively, and complete a task. So I think this is a great thing. And I think if you will give it a try, you'll find out that a Pomodoro technique is a great way to manage your time. The most important thing is that when the timer goes off, I mean, I always have to remember this. Like if I'm writing something or doing something and that timer goes off, like, okay, the alarm's going off, I have to stop. Like you have to stop. It's almost like, when the professor teaches us, pencils down, like, time's up, like you have to, hands up. Like, so same thing here. You have to make sure that you're stopping. Don't try to cheat to take an extra 30 seconds or say 5 seconds, because you're just hurting yourself, right? Your brain's going to not like that. So make sure that you do stop when that alarm goes off, and your body's going to be very kind to you. All right, number 7, reduce the mental overload. When too much information is crammed into a single session, the brain struggles to retain it all. That's why I said focus on one task, not multiple things. Taking breaks helps prevent information overload by giving your mind time to digest and organize new knowledge. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you can return to studying with a clear and more refreshed mindset, ready to absorb even more. Now, if you have a couple tasks to do and you've gotten done one task and you're not done with the Pomodoro, then by all means, go on to the next task. Like, for example, I was working on doing an SEO for a video, and it only took me 5 minutes. And then I had more stuff to do. Well, then I could start doing the other stuff, like writing something, a blog. And then, even though I'm not finished, when the timer goes off, I stop what I'm doing. Number 8, enhancing the mood and your motivation. So studying for hours without a break can lead to frustration, loss of motivation. Breaks, especially those involving enjoyable activities, release that dopamine, that quote unquote feel good hormone, helping you maintain a positive attitude toward learning. A better mood translates to better motivation, making study sessions something to look forward to rather than dread. Number 9, allowing time for reflection. Rushing through study material without pausing can lead to shallow learning. Taking breaks provides a moment to reflect on what you've studied, reinforcing the understanding and identifying areas that may need further review. Reflection time allows you to process complex ideas, making studying more meaningful and effective. So I want to share something with you. So many of you know that I'm in a master's program for AI. And so, a lot of times when you look at something the first time, it might be a little confusing. So, you're going to look at it multiple times. You'll find that after the second or third time, it's going to seem easier. It's going to click. Don't force your mind to absorb something the first time, because it just might not gel, and that's totally cool. Number 10, encourage sustainable study habits. Success in learning isn't about short bursts of effort. It's about consistency. Regular study breaks creates a sustainable routine that prevents exhaustion and ensures long-term academic or professional growth. Developing a habit of structured breaks makes studying more enjoyable and efficient and effective over time. So notice we're not doing a 5-minute session, right? We're doing a 25-minute. And what's nice about that is you're actually going to feel like you're learning, and your brain's like, oh, wow, I get to take a break, right? And the whole reason that I decided to have this topic for the week is to talk about not just studying, but also what happens when you're in class. And I'm going to go through a lot of different things, including what my experience is tomorrow when I go to class. And I'm trying some different techniques to stay awake because I have a professor who's a doctor, very nice gentleman, young gentleman. Unfortunately, he reads. And when you read and you don't engage your class, well, guess what happens? People check out on the sleep train. Now, I, however, I think I beat the record of the class. I stay awake like 2 hours before I'm trying to start going to sleep. My classmates are going to sleep anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So that's great. My classes are a little like 4 hours. So I still have to do other things. So I'm going to be experimenting with some stuff, bringing that feedback to you so that you can actually use these techniques. And I'm going to report on which ones worked, which ones didn't, which ones worked for me, and some that you can try for yourself. Because the whole idea is we got to get our mind active. And if asking questions isn't doing it, we'll go through a lot of different things that I feel are really going to actually inspire you to become better at studying. All right. So now that I've gone through basically the 10 reasons why frequent study breaks boost learning, I'm going to go in and give like a story about each one. All right. So the very first one is important. It's enhancing our memory retention. All right. So this sounds like something pretty easy, and it is. So if you're a student or a professional studying for maybe an exam, using spaced repetition, reviewing key dates every few hours instead of cramming the night before leading to better recall during the test is key. Uh, I first learned this when I probably was in I think it was probably around my senior year in high school. And the teachers there were explaining that you needed to not study the material like, once or twice before the test, right? You needed to do things every day. It didn't really kick in until college. And then I realized that, I've got to implement a routine because there's just a lot of information. There's a lot of vocabulary words. There's a lot of concepts. And I've got to make this stuff uh, feel comfortable in my brain. And the more I can do that, guess what? The easier it will be for me to remember it. I think that's a very, very important thing. And so if we understand that, then hopefully this will make some sense for you. So when we think about memory retention, we want to think of it as the fact that we don't learn everything that we study at the moment. It's like a bell curve, right? So when we stop studying, we lose a little bit. But then when we come back and we study again, we remember more of what we started. And the part where we start to drift off, we start to like re-engage there. And now the next time we come back, we've remembered, let's say it wasn't 10%, maybe it was 15% or 20%. And now that'll help us build upon. One of the keys to studying is actually to build upon what you already know. So if you're going to go into physics class, for example, and you like math, but you're not into physics projects, but maybe you love roller coasters or you love to understand how air flows, we can get that curiosity to want you to explore it and thus be excited about the problems and what the math helps you solve. All right. Number two, improving focus and concentration. So maybe you're a programmer working on a complex set of coding, and you take a 5-minute break every 25 minutes, returning with a clear mind and solving errors faster. When I was in college, and I had this challenge I was working on. I'm in college now again, but I was in college as an undergraduate. I always thought that you just had to put more time and more time and more time. And I didn't quite get I did learn in my freshman year that how to keep studying, right? I learned to do these, little short study sessions for for one of my electives. But in my major classes, I didn't realize that you shouldn't be studying continuously. And it got very daunting with all the information that was piling up. So think about it right now. If a programmer has to write code and he or she is stuck because of the fact that, everything is starting to look like a mess on the screen. Well, that's a good indication that it's time to take a break, right? There's no harm in taking a break. People that take breaks actually are a lot more productive. All right. The story for number three, preventing burnout. This happens with college students preparing for finals. And this happens with even professionals in their job, having to learn new material because that's what's required for the position. So it's important to do things like stretch, hydrate yourself with plenty of water. You know how picky I am with having my RO water, which is filtered 7 times. Take a short walk. Prevent exhaustion and keep your stress levels low. I think that is a very, very important thing for you to understand. And if you can understand that, then you can embrace this concept that we have to give our body a break. And when we do that, our mind and body will respond a lot more in kind to us. Number four, boosting energy and productivity. Maybe an office worker is experiencing mental fatigue, taking short work walks outside during lunch, returning to the desk, recharged and more efficient, or maybe even just walking to get a glass of water from the water cooler or from the fridge can really help. Now, I know a lot of companies say, you're not getting paid for taking breaks, but I have to tell you something. Would you rather pay somebody to work X hours and then be inefficient or lose? I don't know. Maybe lose in an hour, you're going to lose 10 minutes, but you're really not losing because you're allowing that person to recharge. I'd rather that person get those 10 minutes during the hour so they can recharge. All right. Because that person's actually going to start shutting down as they get tired. All right, number five, encouraging creativity and problem solving. A writer struggling with writer's block, step away for 10 minutes. And during that time, a fresh idea might pop up. Maybe you may listen to some music during that time. You could do some stretches, or maybe you'll get something to eat. And that will actually fuel yourself to think in a way that you didn't think was possible. All right, number six, supporting the Pomodoro technique. I've beat this one to death, but the Pomodoro technique absolutely is a great technique. Uh, Medical students, engineers like myself use it. Undergrads use it. Even high school students can use it. And yes, even grammar school students can use it. So let's just go back for a moment. How much homework does a kid get in, let's just say, fifth grade for math class? Let's just go back to that for a moment. So in fourth through sixth grade, they receive about 2 to 4 assignments per week. They last anywhere from 15 and 45 minutes. Okay, so let's go back to eighth grade. All right, eighth grade. How much does a kid get in eighth grade? So they will last between 45 minutes and 75 minutes. Okay, so how much does a kid get as a freshman in college for math? Well, that's going to be a little longer. So students should expect 2 and 4 hours of homework each night. Yeah. So while there's no set standard on how much time you should spend during homework in a college, a good rule of thumb is that students 3 hours a week per college credit. So it doesn't seem like a lot until you factor in that average college student takes about 15 units per semester. Now, it doesn't mean that exactly. What it really means is that you've got to spend time, even if it's those 15 minutes or those 30 minutes before your section. I remember in grammar school and even high school, like, we had that extra 20 or 30 minutes and we all thought it was time to talk. Later, I learned that that wasn't the greatest use of our time. We really should have been studying the material so we could be more prepared for the class. So I think the whole difference when you go from college are going from high school to college is there's more work. When I was in high school, I was getting anywhere from 45 minutes to 1 hour of homework for every class I took. So in an average day, I had about 5 classes. So that means I had 5 hours of homework a week, a day. So if you take 3 credits, okay, let's say each course was 3 credits. So 3 times 5, that's 15. So I just said to you that I had 5 classes, an hour to 2 hours. So was quite lower than the standard, but that's a lot higher than most kids get in public school. Private school students get a lot more homework. I did go to a private Catholic um, high school and also went to a private grammar school. So I went to a college prep high school. And so understanding the Pomodoro technique, I think is something that should be taught to kids as early as first grade because it can really make life easier. So, number 7 for a quick story is reducing the mental overload. And although that sounds like something that's not really hard, it really isn't. A high school student studying multiple subjects avoids overwhelming their brain by taking breaks between topics, leading to better comprehension. However, if he or she is studying for 45 minutes or an hour, that probably might be too much studying. Probably should be taking 1 or 2 breaks, every hour. All right. So I think that's an important thing to understand. Number 8, enhancing the mood and motivation. So an entrepreneur working on a big project plays their favorite song during a short break, lifting the mood and keeping motivation high. Allow time for relaxation and reflection, really important. A public speaker rehearsing for a presentation steps away for a break, comes back and realizes how they can improve their delivery. All right, so the last one is encouraging sustainable study habits. A law student avoids last minute cramming by using structured breaks daily, making a studying a consistent and a manageable habit. The whole key, ladies and gentlemen, is to develop a habit, a habit that you want to do. And when it becomes a habit that you like, it's going to be like ingrained into you. So I know we've talked about some basic things today. And I know we've talked about the fact that studying is all about habits. Unfortunately, in school, they don't really teach you these habits, do they? No, they don't really teach you these habits. So I think it's important to understand what they are and to start adapting them really early. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. We'll catch you guys tomorrow for another show. Enjoy this.